If you only have 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video. The great Daphne Guinness is a nepo baby who turned herself into a living, breathing work of art.
Daphne Guinness is the most inspiring and the most individual fashion icon in the world today.
She's the couture-clad aristocrat who wears 10-inch hoof heels to breakfast and has conspiracy theorists convinced she drinks blood. In short, she took her disturbing upbringing and her high society pedigree and turned it all into a truly singular beauty blueprint that changed the face of fashion forever. But that's the short version. If you'd like the full beauty exploration, follow me. Welcome. I'm Kira, and this is your beauty blueprint. Take 1 part blue-blooded pedigree, add a dash of rock and roll rebellion, mystique, and intellectualism, stir in the devotion of the world's most famous fashion designers, and top it off with a signature black and white coiffure. The result is a persona as recognizable as it is unreplicable. Well, we'll see about that. So, settle in, pour yourself a splash of Guinness, and let's start at the beginning. And heads up, by the end of this video, you'll even get some extremely practical beauty secrets of Daphne's that I dug out just for us. Oh, and before we begin, one last quick note, or news, rather. I have just launched YouTube memberships, which means you can now access members-only secret podcasts that will go live every week. Same format as my usual videos, but with a touch more spice. The ones you like most could even be made into full video episodes in the future. First one is already up, and it's all about Grace Jones and her feline ways. And naturally, we will have the usual YouTube perks, like member badges and special stickers. Only these are designed by me and therefore actually look great. Judge for yourself. Anyway, who exactly is this enigmatic Miss Daphne Guinness? And how did she come to be this odd phantom creature? Daphne Diana Joan, Susanna Guinness, was born in London in 1967 to a life of privilege laced with some very exceptional drama. Her father was Jonathan Guinness, heir to the famed Guinness brewing dynasty and a British lord, and her mother was Suzanne Lisney, a French beauty often seen on society pages. On her father's side, Daphne's lineage entwined with the notorious Mitford sisters. Her grandmother was the Diana Mitford, who scandalously married British fascist leader Sir Oswald Mosley. Little Daphne adored her granny. She once happily pointed out Sir Oswald on television at school as her dear uncle, and was promptly stigmatized for it. A lot of my life has been a misunderstanding, she later sighed. She spent her early childhood in an 18th century former monastery in Spain with no electricity and no road, but it did have Salvador Dalí as a neighbor. Yes, the Dalí, the great surrealist painter. He kept live lobsters in his swimming pool, and as a girl, Daphne would swim there, roam around, vanish for hours to play in caves and collect beetles. Dalí even gave tiny Daphne tips on how to be naughty. Her unique upbringing, Nazis in the family tree and the surrealist as a neighbor, left her isolated among peers who couldn't possibly relate. She never even stood a chance to become normal. But when Daphne was 5, the surreal turned horrific. Tony Baekeland, a family friend and heir to a plastics fortune, showed up at the Guinness home. He was schizophrenic and off his meds and was let inside by staff. Little Daphne, alone in the nursery, was delighted to see a familiar face, thinking he might read her a story. Instead, the 25-year-old man announced he was going to kill all women, starting with her. He produced a kitchen knife and took Daphne hostage. She was marched outside, with a blade pressed so close to her throat that she was bleeding, while he was ranting death to all women. A brave housekeeper intervened and saved her life. As Daphne's mother pulled up in a taxi, Baekeland fled. The man killed his own mother the next day, a crime later depicted in the film Savage Grace. Afterward, the family swept the trauma under the rug. No one spoke to Daphne about it. Daphne vividly remembers ending up outside on the sidewalk, a knife at her neck, certain she was about to die. The adults carried on with aristocratic, stiff upper lips. At 19, Daphne's life took another abrupt turn. Her first and only marriage to Spyros Niarchos, 12 years her senior, a Greek shipping heir and the son of billionaire Stavros Niarchos. I married at 19. It was madness, but that's love for you. She laughed about it later. By 21, she was the mother of 3 children, living in a world of private jets and palaces, but also strictly imposed expectations. After each childbirth, she was given only a couple of days off before resuming her duties as a billionaire's wife. Her own dreams, music, art, were put on hold. It was a glamorous life, yes, but one where Daphne's own identity was expected to take a back seat. The marriage lasted until 1999. Daphne's divorce made headlines, not least for the reported $39 million settlement she received. And it came with heartbreak. Her children stayed primarily with their father, leaving her painfully alone on many holidays. She and Niarchos eventually reconciled as friends, but at the time, Daphne was left to rediscover who she was. Now a single woman in her early 30s with money, a famous name, and a daunting blank slate. Reinvent herself she did. Daphne moved to London and dove into the fashion underground. She soon fell in with designer Alexander McQueen and stylist Isabella Blow, 2 of the biggest visionary rule breakers. McQueen made her his muse, featured her in his shows, and Blow became a close collaborator in style experiments. Daphne even nurtured McQueen's career in its crucial early days, acting as patron. Even the great Karl Lagerfeld was enamored and referred to Daphne as one of his muses. No one had quite seen a society heiress turn herself into an avant-garde fashion artwork the way Daphne did. As I got older, I looked at the world and I realized we need armor. So my jewelry and clothes became my armor, she told one interviewer. This wasn't mere metaphor. One of her most famous accessories is the Contra Mundum glove, an 18-karat white gold, diamond-encrusted evening glove that she commissioned from jeweler Sean Lean in collaboration with Alexander McQueen. Daphne would wear it with slinky gowns. Her custom blend of aggression and elegance always left onlookers breathless. Personally, I sense acutely how she encourages others to find the extraordinary within themselves. She believed true artistic fashion belongs in a museum. In 2007, when Isabella Blow tragically took her own life, Daphne famously bought up her late friend's entire wardrobe to keep it intact. I wanted to prevent carnage, souvenir seekers plundering the incredible body of work Issy had created, she explained. By the late 2000s, Daphne Guinness had fully transformed into the high priestess of experimental fashion, a living, breathing piece of art wherever she went. Yet in 2010, Alexander McQueen died by suicide, just 3 years after Isabella Blow's death. Daphne was devastated. Shortly thereafter, her brother also died, of cancer. She felt cursed by these losses. What's more, she was continuously asked how she was still here, when so many of her close ones were gone. In that morbid fog, Daphne nearly lost herself to despair. It could have easily been the end of her story. But instead she found a new beginning, through music. Rock legend David Bowie, who was an old acquaintance and sensed a fellow rebel soul in her, encouraged her to throw her pain into songwriting. Bowie was my great champion, Daphne has said. He even brought in his producer Tony Visconti to help her songs. In her 40s, Daphne entered the recording studio and birthed a fresh new identity. Her debut album came out in 2016. That year was also David Bowie's last. In classic Daphne fashion, she gave that album her all, perhaps too much, as she joked that with each album she almost dies from the effort. Yet making music proved cathartic, a way to wrest beauty from loss. She's since released multiple albums, each a new chapter in her self-reinvention. A quick little note. Thank you for being here, and I would be forever grateful if you were to click subscribe, if you haven't already, and like and comment. These little things take little effort for you, but can make or break my YouTube future. Thanks a trillion. Also, I designed Daphne Guinness T-shirts just for us. And now we have to ask, what exactly is the Daphne Guinness persona? And why are people so mesmerized by it? How did this aristocrat become a modern myth in fashion? For one, Daphne brings intellect and imagination to the table, not just a pretty face in wild clothes. She's astonishingly cultured, able to chat about Baroque opera, Nietzsche, or experimental films with equal ease. That made her catnip for creative souls. McQueen confided in her, Bowie bonded with her over esoteric books, and countless artists like photographer David LaChapelle and Karl Lagerfeld sought her out as a muse. She wasn't just dressing up, she was contributing to the culture. In an industry full of surface-level glam, Daphne had true depth, and that easily set her apart. Men, too, found her irresistible, not in the conventional bombshell way, but because she embodied a sort of dangerous glamour. Her most infamous affair was with French philosopher Bernard-Henri Lévy. They carried on a passionate on-off relationship for years, even as he remained married. The tabloids gleefully labeled Daphne a scarlet woman, but she eventually shrugged off the scandal. You get used to that kind of name-calling, she noted. She even called Lévy the love of her life, though the tumult almost drove her to madness. It's telling that a man famed for his intellect fell so hard for her. Daphne's blend of brains, beauty, and courage can easily cast a spell. Camille Paglia, the renowned cultural critic, has framed Daphne Guinness as one of the true originals. Here's the exact quote from her 2010 essay, Lady Gaga and the Death of Sex. Gaga has glibly appropriated from performers like Cher, Jane Fonda as Barbarella, Gwen Stefani in Pink, as well as from fashion muses like Isabella Blow and Daphne Guinness. Drag queens, whom Lady Gaga professes to admire, are usually far sexier in many of her over-the-top outfits than she is. Camille Paglia frequently champions decadent, larger-than-life women like Marlene Dietrich or Madonna in her prime. Daphne Guinness fits perfectly. Her public persona is eccentric yet erotic and defied victim feminism. Additionally, Camille emailed fashion writer Glenn Belverio glowing compliments about Daphne Guinness after a New York Fashion Week event. She emphasized Daphne's natural elegance and commanding presence in fashion, and positioned her as superior to manufactured pop stars. And of course, there is the look. Physically, Daphne cuts a striking figure, a porcelain pale elf topped with dramatic two-toned mane, platinum in front, raven in back, swept up like a piece of sculpture. All this just made me think of Cruella de Vil. Well, anyway. Her wardrobe is a rotating art installation of couture, which she balances on heels so high they'd make Lady Gaga queasy. She's been known to wear diamond-encrusted jewelry to the beach and ballet slippers to the gym. When Daphne walks into a room, you notice. Replicating even a fraction of her style might seem impossible, but we can certainly have fun with taking inspiration from a few of her signature beauty choices. Let's start with the hair. Daphne began experimenting with dye at age 11, starting with a bottle of peroxide, as she recalls, and by now the refined black and white crown is perhaps the easiest way to spot her. Arguably, nothing defines Daphne's look more than this stark coiffure drama, black underneath, platinum on the top.
It's funny because a lot of things happen by mistake. My hair happened by mistake.
She settled on this simply because it was easier than constantly switching shades, though maintaining it is an art. Her colorist has to bleach and dye each half separately to prevent any bleeding of color. But the visual impact is worth it. If you're brave enough to attempt the Daphne do, you yourself will want a skilled colorist, or at the very least some at-home bleach and raven black dye, plus luck and much patience to section meticulously. Colors aside, styling is another key. Daphne often teases her hair to get that voluminous lift off her face. Piling hair with a bit of rock and roll messiness instantly adds some Daphne-esque drama. A stronghold wax or pomade is the secret weapon here. She uses Bumble & Bumble's semi-sumo wax, which she loves for its delicious scent. Work a bit of wax into the roots and tease, sculpting the hair up into a high updo or French twist. Don't worry about every strand being perfect. Part of her look's charm is a slightly windswept, modern Marie Antoinette vibe. And if all else fails and you can't get your hair to cooperate, do what Daphne does. Throw on a pair of giant sunglasses and call it a look. She admits that when she's rushing to the studio barefaced, huge shades are her go-to camouflage. Conveniently, they also add instant mystery and glamour. And her beauty routine, interestingly, is quite approachable. Daphne's focus is on keeping her skin porcelain smooth. Despite the heavy makeup she wears, Daphne's philosophy is almost startlingly old school and no nonsense. At night, she always washes her face. Her cleanser of choice? A humble bar of Wright's coal tar soap, a classic antiseptic soap from the drugstore. Everyone thinks it's disgusting, but it makes me feel very clean. She laughs about her habit. Hey, if it keeps her porcelain skin clear, who are we to judge? After cleansing, she might use a sonic cleansing brush like the Clarisonic. Then she applies a Japanese SK2 essence, a lightweight hydrating liquid that many beauty aficionados swear by, and occasionally a luxurious serum from La Mer. Daphne admits she has to remind herself to actually use all the fancy serums she collects. She prefers serums over heavy creams, since her skin leans oily and she dislikes any greasy feel. One key anti-aging step she does remember is retinol. She's mentioned using a potent retinol treatment by DDF. Instead of moisturizers, she often also uses a lightweight foundation or tinted cream. She mentioned Makeup Forever's water-based foundation as a go-to, applied sparingly with her fingers. A dab of concealer, usually by Benefit, under the eyes and around the nose, set with translucent powder, like NARS, keeps her complexion flawless. She doesn't do harsh contouring, but she does like a bit of color to keep her from looking like a Victorian ghost. Her favorite is NARS powder blush in Impassioned, a neutral bronzy pink. Often she'll mute her lips by patting on a bit of foundation and then clear gloss, achieving that ethereal effect. For a performance or party, though, she'll break out a bold berry red lipstick, layered and sealed so it won't smudge through an entire night of champagne toasts. A combo she's mentioned is Hourglass's Confession lipstick in a rich berry red, layered with Too Faced's melted liquefied lipstick in a fuchsia shade called Can't Touch This. That creates a perfect custom color. To make it stay put, no smudging on the microphone or champagne glass, she swears by Model in a Bottle lipstick sealer, a nifty product that locks lipstick in place. And her eyes are always defined. Daphne loves a classic cat-eye flick, usually paired with smoky gray or brown eyeshadow for depth. It's a glamorous, timeless look. Anyone wanting to emulate her could start with a swipe of liner and a smudge of charcoal shadow. Her brows are another signature. Though her hair is half platinum, she keeps her eyebrows dark and defined for contrast. She actually dyes them to maintain a medium brown color or uses Anastasia's brow pencil to fill them in. And on days when that feels like too much effort, you can take a page from Daphne, throw on huge dark sunglasses and carry on. Daphne's beauty playbook is about emphasizing contrast. Porcelain skin versus dark, dramatically emphasized features, all within a relatively classic framework. It's achievable for anyone with a bit of patience and a flair for the dramatic. Stepping back, what is the real beauty blueprint Daphne offers? Perhaps it's the permission, if not encouragement, to use beauty and fashion as armor as well as artistic expression. She took the extravagant tools of beauty culture, fashion, makeup, spectacle, and used them to build an identity. Rather than live the quiet Nepo baby life of her family name, she dared turn herself into art, successfully. Her legacy is a testament to individualism. Now in her late 50s, Daphne is still evolving. She's releasing new music and even appears as a character in a recent TV drama about the Guinness dynasty. Reinvention has no age limit, and she's a living proof. As she herself has said, having a famous name can open a door, but what you do after you open that door is what truly matters. Life is comedy and tragedy in equal parts, and the main thing is to try to pick yourself up and to create something that's worthwhile out of it. Few have ever done that with as much style as Daphne Guinness. Liked this? Then watch the next chapter. I have queued it for you here. If you want these deep dives every week, do tap subscribe. And tell me one thing, what about Daphne stayed with you and why? I'll pin my favorite reply, and I'll see you in the next one. Love, Kira.